Have you ever wondered why some women are able to create deep, lasting bonds with the men in their lives, while others constantly struggle to keep a man's attention and interest? The answer doesn't lie in seduction games or the manipulative techniques we see all over the place. The truth is much deeper and more transformative than that. Napoleon Hill, in his studies on the human mind and success, discovered universal principles that apply not only to the world of business, but also to the most intimate human relationships. When we talk about male emotional attachment, we're touching on sacred territory of the human psyche, a space where vulnerability and strength meet in a unique way. The first secret that few people understand is that male emotional attachment is born from the unconscious recognition of a rare quality: feminine completeness. We're not talking about perfection, but rather about a woman who has found peace with herself, who cultivates her own happiness, and doesn't emotionally depend on external validation to feel whole. When a man perceives, and this perception happens on very subtle levels, that a woman possesses a balanced energy, something awakens in him. It's as if he's found an oasis in the middle of the desert of superficial and needy relationships that dominate the modern world. This woman doesn't need him to be happy, but she chooses to be with him. And this conscious choice is deeply magnetic. Genuine male emotional attachment doesn't come from a fear of loss or dependency, but from the recognition of real value. This is where many women get lost. They confuse intensity with depth, drama with passion, neediness with love. A man might be temporarily attracted to drama, but what makes him emotionally attached is emotional stability combined with a healthy mystery. Think about a woman you know who seems to have this natural ability to emotionally engage men. Observe her more closely. You'll probably notice that she isn't constantly seeking approval, doesn't dramatize minor situations, has her own interests and passions, and treats herself with the same care she would like to receive from others. This is the first piece of the puzzle, the inner work. Before any external technique or strategy, there is an inner universe that needs to be harmonized. Napoleon Hill spoke about the power of directed thought, and that applies directly here. When a woman directs her thoughts toward her own growth, her own healing, and her own development, she automatically becomes more interesting and attractive on a very deep level. A man, by nature, is a problem solver. When he finds a woman who isn't constantly creating emotional problems for him to solve, but who also isn't completely predictable, something lights up in his mind. He starts to ask himself, who is this woman? What makes her so different? And it is this curiosity that plants the first seed of emotional attachment. Have you ever wondered why some women are able to create deep, lasting bonds with the men in their lives, while others constantly struggle to keep a man's attention and interest? The answer doesn't lie in seduction games or the manipulative techniques we see all over the place. The truth is much deeper and more transformative than that. Napoleon Hill, in his revolutionary studies on the human mind and success, discovered universal principles that apply not only to the world of business, but also to the most intimate human relationships. When we talk about male emotional attachment, we're touching on sacred territory of the human psyche, a unique and powerful space where vulnerability and strength meet. The first secret that few understand is that male emotional attachment is born from the unconscious recognition of an extremely rare quality in the modern world: feminine completeness. We're not talking about perfection, that obsessive quest to be flawless that makes us so sick, but rather about a woman who has found genuine peace with herself, who consistently cultivates her own happiness and does not emotionally depend on external validation to feel complete and valuable. When a man perceives, and this perception happens on levels much more subtle than we imagine, that a woman possesses a balanced energy, something profound awakens in him. It's as if he's found a true oasis in the middle of the arid desert of superficial, needy, and dramatically unstable relationships that completely dominate the contemporary dating scene. This woman doesn't need him to be happy, but she consciously chooses to be with him. And this deliberate and free choice is deeply magnetic to the male psyche. Genuine male emotional attachment doesn't arise from the fear of loss or emotional dependency, but from the sincere recognition of real and authentic value. It is precisely here that countless women get completely lost. They confuse emotional intensity with depth of connection, constant drama with true passion, desperate neediness with genuine love. A man may be temporarily attracted to drama and instability, but what truly makes him emotionally attached in a lasting way is the powerful combination of emotional stability and a healthy mystery. Think for a moment about a woman you know who seems to have this almost magical ability to naturally and lastingly engage men emotionally. Observe her more closely. You will probably notice very specific characteristics. She is not constantly seeking external approval. She doesn't dramatize minor situations by turning them into monumental crises. She has her own genuine interests and authentic passions. She maintains a rich and interesting life regardless of whether she is in a relationship. And perhaps most importantly of all, she treats herself with the same care, respect, and kindness that she would like to receive from others. This is the first fundamental piece of the puzzle, deep and consistent inner work. Before any external technique or behavioral strategy, there is a complex inner universe that needs to be carefully harmonized. Napoleon Hill spoke extensively about the transformative power of directed and focused thought, and this principle applies directly and powerfully to romantic relationships. When a woman consciously directs her thoughts, energy, and attention toward her own personal growth, her own emotional healing, and her own holistic development, she automatically becomes more interesting, attractive, and magnetic on a very deep and unconscious level. Man, by his very psychological and evolutionary nature, is fundamentally a problem solver. This characteristic is deeply rooted in his mental structure. When he finds a woman who isn't constantly creating unnecessary emotional problems for him to solve, who doesn't turn every little difficulty into a crisis that demands his urgent intervention, but who also isn't completely predictable or obvious, something powerful lights up in his curious mind. He begins to question, almost obsessively, who really is this woman? What makes her so different from all the others? Why do I feel so good in her presence? Why do I think about her when we're not together? And it is exactly this genuine and growing curiosity that plants the first vital seed of deep emotional attachment. It's not neediness that creates true attachment. It's the healthy mystery, the growing admiration and the unconscious recognition of rare qualities that awaken in a man the genuine desire to know more, to be closer, to be a part of the life of this extraordinary woman who has found the balance between being accessible without being desperate, affectionate without being needy, and interesting without being complicated. There is a world of difference between being physically present and being emotionally available. Most women master the first skill, but few truly understand the transformative power of the second. When Napoleon Hill studied the mental patterns that led to success, he discovered that the most influential and magnetic people possessed a specific quality, the ability to be completely present in the moment, authentically and consciously, absorbing and responding to the energy around them. This genuine emotional presence is like an invisible magnet for the male psyche. When a man feels that a woman is truly there, not just physically occupying the space, but energetically engaged, emotionally available, and mentally present, something deep awakens in his nervous system. It's as if all his senses recognize that they have found something rare and precious, someone who can create a safe space where he can simply be himself, without masks, without performances, without the constant pressure to impress or prove his worth. Feminine receptivity, when genuine and balanced, acts as a powerful magnetic field. But here we need to make a crucial distinction. Receptivity does not mean passivity, just as strength does not mean aggression. The truly receptive woman is one who can receive attention, affection, gestures, words, energy, fully and gratefully, without immediately trying to reciprocate compulsively or negate what she is receiving through self-deprecation. Many modern women have completely lost this natural ability. They have been conditioned to believe that receiving is a sign of weakness, that they always need to be giving something in return, that showing genuine pleasure in receiving care is being selfish or dependent. This conditioning creates an emotional armor that completely blocks the possibility of true intimate connection. When a man offers something, be it a caring gesture, a sincere compliment, a small surprise, or a moment of special attention, and the woman is able to receive it with genuine grace, with visible pleasure, with a smile that comes from a real place and not a performance, something extraordinary happens in the male brain. He feels that his actions have a real positive impact, that he can genuinely bring joy to and nurture this special woman. And this feeling of being able to positively affect someone he values is deeply addictive to the male psyche. A man needs to feel valued and capable, not through empty compliments or artificial validation, but through the clear perception that his actions, his words, and his presence make a real difference in the life of someone he admires. When a woman can show in a natural and spontaneous way that his presence genuinely makes her happier, more relaxed, more herself, it awakens something in the man that is far more powerful than physical attraction or casual interest. Emotional presence also manifests through active and conscious listening. Napoleon Hill constantly emphasized the importance of truly listening, not just waiting for your turn to speak, not just faking attention while planning your response, but listening deeply and with interest. When a woman can genuinely listen to a man, asking questions that show real interest and understanding, creating a safe space for him to share his thoughts, dreams, fears, and aspirations without judgment or immediate attempts to fix or advise, she touches on a fundamental male need that is rarely met. Most men live in a world where they rarely feel truly heard or understood. They are constantly being evaluated, judged, compared, and pressured to perform or produce results. When they find a woman who can create an emotional space where they can simply exist, share, and be accepted as they are, it generates a profound relief and gratitude that naturally transforms into emotional attachment. But genuine emotional presence goes beyond receptivity and listening. It also includes the ability to share your own essence in a vulnerable and authentic way, without drama or the need for constant validation. It's the ability to show your own inner layers, your dreams, your reflections, your experiences, in a way that inspires trust and admiration, rather than pity or the need for rescue. This balanced vulnerability creates real intimacy, and real intimacy is what transforms superficial attraction into deep emotional attachment. When a man feels that he truly knows a woman, not just her social mask or her acceptable version, but her real essence, and still feels admiration and affection for her, something irreversible happens in his heart. He begins to see her not as just another person in his life, but as someone unique and irreplaceable. The male psyche has a fundamental characteristic that few truly understand. Man is, by evolutionary and psychological nature, a conqueror. This doesn't mean he needs to dominate or control, but rather that he finds deep pleasure and satisfaction in the process of winning something he considers valuable and challenging. Napoleon Hill observed this pattern repeatedly in his studies. The most successful people were those who found motivation in the challenge, not in ease. When we apply this understanding to relationships, we discover something revolutionary. A man becomes emotionally attached not to what he gets easily, but to what he needs to win over in a consistent and respectful way. Here lies the delicate balance that many women fail to find, being accessible enough for him to feel he has a real chance, but challenging enough for the conquest to maintain meaning and value. A healthy challenge has nothing to do with mind games, emotional manipulation, or playing hard to get in an artificial and calculated way. These superficial tactics might generate temporary interest, but they inevitably prove to be empty and create relationships based on toxic dynamics. The truly magnetic challenge comes from something much deeper and more authentic. It comes from a woman who holds high standards for herself and for those she wishes to have in her life. A woman who represents a healthy challenge is one who is not available for just any kind of treatment or behavior. She is not rude or arrogant, but she has clear boundaries and communicates them firmly and gently. When a man realizes that this woman consciously chooses who she spends her time, energy, and emotional attention on, it awakens in him a powerful desire to be chosen, to be considered worthy of her company and affection. This type of woman is not desperately available 24/7. She has a rich and interesting life, personal projects that excite her, friendships she cultivates with care, hobbies that help her grow, goals she pursues with determination. When a man realizes he needs to compete, not with other men, but with her full and satisfying life, something interesting happens in his mind. He begins to try harder, to be more present, to show more genuine interest. The psychology of conquest works in a very specific way in the male mind. When something is too easy to obtain, the male brain automatically lowers its perception of its value. This isn't superficiality or cruelty, it's simply how our evolutionary mind works. That which we have to strive for, plan for, and invest time and energy in, automatically gains more importance in our internal value system. On the other hand, when something is impossible to obtain or excessively difficult, interest also wanes, but for different reasons. The brain concludes that the energy investment is not worth the potential return. The sweet spot is in the middle, challenging enough to be valued, yet achievable enough to keep motivation active. A woman who intuitively masters this dynamic is one who celebrates and rewards the man's genuine efforts, but does not accept crumbs of attention or minimal effort. She recognizes when he is truly trying to please her, to get to know her better, to be a significant part of her life, and she responds to these efforts with genuine affection and appreciation. But she also does not tolerate disrespectful behavior, a lack of consistency, or superficial and lazy efforts. This woman understands that her time, her emotional energy, and her company are precious resources that must be invested wisely. She is not cruel or manipulative with this understanding. She simply values herself enough to expect others to value her as well. And when a man realizes he needs to be his best self to deserve her attention, something powerful awakens, the desire to grow, to improve, to become worthy. Mystery also plays a crucial role in this dynamic. A mysterious woman is not one who hides important information or creates drama through unnecessary secrets. A healthy mystery comes from depth, from a woman who has interesting layers to her personality, rich experiences to share, complex and unique thoughts, and dreams and aspirations that spark curiosity. When a man feels there is always something new to discover about a woman, a new facet of her personality, a new passion, a new interesting perspective on life, he remains interested and curious. This creates a positive cycle. The more he discovers, the more he wants to discover. The more he knows, the more he appreciates her complexity and inner richness. This natural mystery also includes maintaining a certain healthy emotional independence. The magnetic woman doesn't show all her cards at once, doesn't dump her entire life story on the first date, and doesn't become completely transparent and predictable after a few weeks together. She reveals herself gradually in layers, allowing intimacy to build organically and sustainably. There is an invisible force that operates in human relationships, something that goes far beyond the words exchanged or the gestures made. Napoleon Hill understood that success in any area of life depended on the mastery and correct direction of personal energy. In romantic relationships, this manifests even more powerfully through what we can call balanced feminine energy, a magnetic quality that awakens in a man the deep desire to protect, care for, and connect in a lasting way. Balanced feminine energy has no relation to submission, weakness, or dependence. On the contrary, it represents one of the most powerful forces in the universe, the ability to nurture, inspire, and elevate those around us through our own inner fullness. A woman who masters this energy can awaken in a man not just physical desire, but a deep emotional need to be a part of her life in a significant and lasting way. This energy first manifests through genuine self-esteem, not the superficial arrogance that masks deep insecurities, but the quiet confidence of someone who knows her own worth and doesn't need to constantly prove it to others. When a woman moves through the world with this calm inner certainty, when she speaks of herself with kindness and respect, when she treats her own body, mind, and spirit with the care they deserve, it creates an irresistible energy field. A man has an ancestral instinct to protect and value what is precious. When he finds a woman who clearly considers herself precious, not in a narcissistic or demanding way, but in a natural and healthy way, something deep awakens in his psyche. He begins to see her through the lens she uses to see herself. If she treats herself as something special and valuable, he will naturally begin to treat her the same way. Healthy complementarity is another crucial aspect of this dynamic. Men and women have naturally different energies, not better or worse, just different and complementary. When a woman can honor and express her natural femininity without feeling inferior or apologetic for it, she creates a space where a man can express his masculinity in a healthy and positive way. This means she allows and even encourages him to take on certain traditionally masculine responsibilities, opening doors, occasionally paying the bill, taking the lead in certain situations, offering practical solutions to problems without feeling diminished or less capable for it. She understands that allowing him to express these aspects of his nature doesn't make her less powerful, but rather creates a harmonious dynamic where both can flourish in their natural strengths. The woman with balanced feminine energy also knows how to inspire a man to be his best version without trying to control or change him directly. She does this through her own example, by being a person in constant growth and evolution herself, and through the subtle expression of her high expectations. When she demonstrates through her choices and behaviors that she values qualities like integrity, healthy ambition, kindness, and personal growth, the man will naturally want to embody these qualities to remain worthy of her admiration. This ability to inspire without pressuring is a delicate art. The wise woman never tries to force a man to change through constant criticism, ultimatums, or emotional manipulation. Instead, she maintains her own high standards and allows her own energy of growth and evolution to positively influence the environment around her. The man who is truly interested in winning and keeping such a woman will naturally feel motivated to grow and improve. Authentic vulnerability is also part of this powerful feminine energy. This doesn't mean becoming a fragile and needy person, but rather having the courage to be real, to show genuine emotions appropriately, to share fears and dreams without unnecessary drama. When a strong woman can also be vulnerable at the right moments, it creates a deep emotional intimacy that awakens a man's instinct to protect and care. The balance between strength and receptivity is crucial here. The magnetic woman is capable of being strong and independent when necessary, but she can also relax into her femininity when she is with a man she respects and trusts. She doesn't need to constantly prove her strength or compete with him. She can simply be herself in all her natural complexity. This energy also manifests in the way she takes care of herself and her environment. A woman who dresses well not to impress others, but because she enjoys feeling beautiful. Who keeps her space organized and welcoming because she appreciates beauty. Who takes care of her physical and emotional health because she values herself. This woman radiates an energy that is naturally attractive to a man seeking a quality partner. Finally, balanced feminine energy includes the ability to celebrate life and find joy in the little things. The woman who can laugh genuinely, who gets excited about simple discoveries, who finds beauty in the everyday, who maintains a sense of curiosity and wonder about the world. This woman makes life richer and more colorful for any man lucky enough to be near her. Napoleon Hill discovered through decades of research that the most influential and magnetic people possessed a specific skill that set them apart from all others. They knew how to use words, not just to convey information, but to create positive and inspiring emotional states in those around them. In intimate relationships, this skill becomes even more powerful, turning into a true emotional alchemy, capable of creating deep and lasting bonds in a man's heart. The communication that generates male emotional attachment goes far beyond what is said. It includes how it's said, when it's said, what isn't said, and most importantly, the emotional state from which the words are spoken. A woman who masters this art can use communication as a tool for deep connection, creating in a man the feeling that she truly understands, values, and accepts him for his most authentic self. The first element of this magnetic communication is genuine appreciation. Napoleon Hill constantly emphasized that all human beings have a deep hunger for recognition and validation. When a woman can identify and verbalize a man's genuine qualities, not through empty or manipulative compliments, but through true and specific observations about his positive characteristics, she touches on a fundamental need that is rarely met adequately. The crucial difference lies in specificity and authenticity. Instead of saying "you're amazing," generic and superficial, the wise woman will say something like, "I admire how you stay patient when you're explaining something complicated to someone. It shows a real kindness that's rare to find." This type of specific recognition shows that she truly observes him, pays attention to the details of his personality and behavior, and values aspects of him that perhaps even he doesn't fully recognize. Emotional communication also involves the art of asking questions that demonstrate a genuine interest in the man's inner experience. Most people, including many women, ask superficial questions about external facts, work, plans, activities. The woman who awakens deep emotional attachment asks questions that touch the inner world. How did you feel when you managed to solve that complicated problem? Or, what motivates you most in this project you're developing? Or, what was the moment from your childhood that marked you most positively? These questions make a man feel truly known and understood. They create an emotional intimacy that goes far beyond the surface, establishing a connection he is unlikely to find with other people. When a man realizes that a woman is genuinely interested in knowing his inner world, his deepest thoughts, his most intimate dreams, his most personal reflections, something powerful awakens. The desire to open up even more, to share even more, to be completely authentic with her. Emotional validation is another essential component of this communicative alchemy. This doesn't mean agreeing with everything or never expressing different opinions, but rather acknowledging and honoring the man's feelings and experiences as valid and understandable. When he shares a frustration, a fear, a joy, or a concern, her response is not to immediately try to solve, advise, or minimize. It's first to acknowledge, "I understand why that made you feel frustrated," or "It makes perfect sense that you feel that way." This validation creates a safe emotional space where the man can be vulnerable without fear of judgment or rejection. Most men constantly live with emotional armor, feeling they need to be strong, solve everything on their own, and not show weakness or uncertainty. When they find a woman who can create a space where they can relax this armor, where they can be complete human beings with all their emotional complexities, it generates profound gratitude and attachment. Magnetic communication also includes the ability to express your own feelings and thoughts clearly, directly, and non-dramatically. The woman who generates emotional attachment does not hold grudges or expect the man to guess her feelings. She communicates her needs, desires, and concerns in a mature and constructive way, always seeking a solution and mutual understanding rather than creating unnecessary drama or conflict. When she needs to address a problem or disagreement, she does so in a way that preserves his dignity and keeps the focus on the solution. Instead of attacking his character, "You always do this," or "You never care," she focuses on the specific behavior and how it affects her. "When you arrive late without letting me know, I feel devalued because I imagine our time together isn't a priority for you." This form of communication allows him to understand the impact of his actions without feeling attacked or judged as a person. The language of appreciation and gratitude is also fundamental. The woman who masters this art regularly expresses recognition for the things the man does for her, from small daily gestures to big sacrifices. She doesn't see this care as an obligation or an entitlement, but as conscious choices he makes that deserve recognition and gratitude. Most importantly, she knows how to use words to paint positive visions of a shared future. Without being clingy or pressuring for premature commitments, she occasionally mentions things she would like to do together, places they would like to visit, experiences they could share. This plants positive seeds in his mind about the possibilities of a future together, making him start to imagine and desire these shared experiences. The most profound principle that Napoleon Hill discovered in all his research on human success was this: lasting transformation always begins from the inside out. When we apply this fundamental truth to romantic relationships, we understand that the deepest and most lasting male emotional attachment is not created through external techniques or performative behaviors, but through the genuine transformation of a woman into her most authentic, balanced, and fulfilled version. This journey of inner transformation is paradoxically both an end in itself and the most powerful means of attracting and maintaining genuine male emotional attachment. When a woman truly embarks on the process of knowing herself, healing her emotional wounds, developing her potential, and building a life that deeply fulfills her, she automatically becomes magnetic in a way that no external strategy could ever replicate. The man who develops a deep emotional attachment to a woman is, in fact, becoming attached to the energy of growth, evolution, and wholeness that she radiates. He is attracted not only to who she is today, but to the upward trajectory she represents, the constant expansion of her capabilities, the genuine curiosity with which she approaches life, the courage with which she faces her challenges, and the grace with which she celebrates her achievements. This woman in a process of conscious transformation possesses a unique quality. She does not need the relationship to complete her, but she can use the relationship as a platform to express even more fully who she is. She does not see the man as her savior or as the solution to her internal shortcomings, but as a fellow traveler with whom she can share the mutual process of growth and evolution. Emotional healing work is fundamental in this process. This includes recognizing and transforming limiting patterns that may have developed over the years, beliefs about her own worth, fears of abandonment, excessive needs for approval, self-sabotaging tendencies, or difficulties in receiving love. When a woman does this inner work with sincerity and dedication, she develops an emotional stability and inner confidence that are naturally attractive to emotionally healthy men. This healing does not mean becoming perfect, or never again having moments of vulnerability or insecurity. It means developing the ability to recognize her own patterns, to take responsibility for her emotional reactions, to communicate her needs maturely, and to maintain her center even during the challenging moments of life and the relationship. The cultivation of genuine self-love is another fundamental pillar of this transformation. This goes far beyond superficial self-help or empty affirmations. True self-love manifests through consistent choices that honor her physical, emotional, and spiritual well-being. It's treating herself with the same kindness she would offer a dear friend, setting healthy boundaries that protect her energy and values, seeking experiences that nourish her soul, and surrounding herself with people who value and respect who she is. When a man observes a woman who genuinely loves and values herself, something profound awakens in him. He realizes that she sets the standard for how she should be treated by the way she treats herself. If she respects herself, he knows he must also respect her. If she invests in her own growth and happiness, he understands that she is the type of woman who adds value to life rather than draining energy. Developing a rich and meaningful life, regardless of relationship status, is crucial. The woman who generates lasting emotional attachment has her own passions, personal goals, valued friendships, interests that excite her, and projects that give her purpose. She doesn't abandon all of this when she enters a relationship, but rather invites the man to be part of an already full and interesting life. This personal fullness creates a powerful, energetic dynamic. The man is attracted not only to her individually, but to the rich and stimulating life she has built around her. He wants to be part of this interesting world she has created, to contribute to her dreams and goals, to be included in her adventures and discoveries. This transforms the relationship from an emotional need into a shared celebration of life. A positive vision for the future and the ability to dream together also play a crucial role in deep male emotional attachment. When a woman can balance satisfaction with the present and excitement for future possibilities, she inspires the man to also dream and plan a shared future. She doesn't pressure for premature commitments, but naturally includes future possibilities in her conversations and plans. The emotional legacy that a transformed woman leaves in a man's life is lasting and profound. Even if the relationship isn't forever, the experience of having known and loved a woman who was truly in her personal power, who genuinely loved herself, and who lived a full and authentic life, marks the man indelibly. He begins to seek these same qualities in future partners, and more importantly, often feels inspired to seek his own transformation and personal growth as well. This is the true magic of inner transformation. It not only attracts male emotional attachment, but also elevates the level of consciousness and maturity of everyone involved. When a woman chooses the path of genuine personal growth, she not only improves her own life, but contributes to raising the quality of human relationships as a whole. The emotional attachment that is born from this foundation is different from any other. It is based on genuine admiration, mutual respect, reciprocal inspiration, and the shared desire to continue growing and evolving together. It is an attachment that strengthens both people rather than diminishing them, that celebrates individuality while building deep union. This is the true secret of lasting male emotional attachment. It is not techniques or strategies that create it, but the presence of a woman who has become genuinely magnetic through her own journey of self-discovery, healing, and personal growth.